All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La, Alahayanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, Shemai, Yasharala, Yahweh, Alahayanawa, Yahweh Achad. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well in this truth. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquath that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that this lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shuwab Amawan back at you with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is going to be called Sex is Marriage. All right. And I just want to get into a few scriptures to explain that sex is marriage, because you got a lot of people that think that when it says that when you sleep with somebody before marriage, they think that that's fornication. But according to the scriptures, that's not fornication at all, because sex is marriage. Matter of fact, to show you what fornication really is, fornication, if you go to 1 Corinthians 7:2, it says right here, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. You see? Because if you go on to another man's wife, or a woman goes on to another woman's husband, that's fornication. That goes into adultery. All right. As a matter of fact, let's go into that word fornication, which it goes into the root word pornea. All right. And it says illicit sexual intercourse, adultery, fornication, being a sodomite, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals, sexual intercourse with close relatives, sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman. All right, see, these is what leads to fornication. All right, you being a sodomite, all right, on some fagonometry bullshit, you sleeping with another man's wife, or a woman sleeping with another woman's man. All right, you having, sexual intercourse with close relatives. All right, you got that, mother and daughter, Salaki, you got that father sleeping with trying to sleep with their daughters, crazy shit like that, man. All right. A divorced man, yeah, because a divorced man and woman, because you're not, a woman, especially the woman, is not supposed to leave a man, all right, a woman, unless he gives you a bill of divorce, all right, you're not supposed to leave a woman is supposed to have only one husband. You know what, Slakia, let me get that, because I'm not sharing the screen. All right. Yeah, let me go back to that. All right, so pornea, let me read that back again, since I didn't have it on the screen. All right. It says 1 Corinthians 7:2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. All right, so you got to have your own. All right, when you're starting to sleep with another man's wife, or another woman's husband, you're committing fornication. That's what the true definition of fornication is. And going into fornication, like I just said, it goes into the root word of pornea, all right, which it means to have illicit sexual intercourse, meaning adultery, all right, homosexuality, intercourse with animals, all right, which that goes into bestiality, which you got these fucking bug outs that's starting to bring that shit out now, sexual intercourse with close relatives, all right, you got fathers sleeping with daughters, you got you even got this bullshit, dads sleeping, stepdads sleeping with they daughters and things like that. You know, a mother, a woman sleeping with her man, and she letting her man tap the mom. You know, that's all fucking fornication. All right, sexual intercourse with divorced man or woman. Matter of fact, off this word pornea, all right, that's where you get that word porn from. That's why watching porn is sin, man, because if you look, porn has all types of titles like this, stupidity like this, you know. They'll show you a stepdad banging his daughter, you know, his stepdaughter. They'll show you intercourse between divorced, you know, couple, all right. They'll show you they push out that agenda of adultery, that it's okay to sleep with someone's wife or someone's husband. You know, that's why it's a certain spirit on that porn, man. That's a straight sin. All right. And then you got worshiping of idols, which that goes into spiritual fornication. All right. So the point was made on that. All right. The real actual fornication is this. These things right here is what creates fornication, not having sex before marriage. That's not fornication. All right. Sex is marriage. All right. And like I was just saying, like when it explains here of sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman, yeah, because a woman is supposed to be with one man and that's it. So if she moves on to another man, she's committing adultery. Not only that, a woman can only leave her man if he dies, or if he is what do you call it? If he gives a bill of divorce. All right. Matter of fact, it says I'm in Corinthians. It tells you that in Corinthians. Let me see where it says. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, I'll just get it from here. A woman cannot leave her husband unless her husband die. KJV. All right. Yeah. Romans 7:2. And it says, for the woman which has an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband. You see, that's when she can move on, when her husband dies. Or if her man gives her a bill of divorce, which that goes, I believe, into Deuteronomy 23, I believe. Nah, it's 22, possibly 21. Possibly 20. Yeah, let me get it real quick. I got it in my scriptures. Definitely in Deuteronomy 24. That's where it's at. I went and started from 23, went down. 24 and 1. And it says, when a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorce and give it in her hand and send her out of the house. And when she departeth out of the house, she may go and be another man's wife. Yeah, see, so you got to give her a bill of divorce so she can be another man's wife. Because if you don't give her that bill of divorce, now you're causing your wife to sin. You're causing her to cause to have adultery. Matter of fact, I might say that right here. Give me 1 second. No. So let me go back to that. All right. So it says, so yeah, you give her the bill of divorce, because if not, you committing. Matter of fact, I'll get it right now. Put not your wife away, KJV. Yeah, here we go. Matthew 19:9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her which is put away does commit adultery. See? So that's why you got to give her that bill of divorce. Because if you don't give her that bill of divorce and send her on the way, like literally tell her you ain't going to be with her no more, then she goes and sleeps with another man, she's committing adultery. And the man that sleeps with her is committing adultery, you know? So let's go back into Deuteronomy 24, and I'll start at 1 again. When a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of the house. And when she departeth out of the house, she may go and be another man's wife, right? So now she could be another man's wife. But the thing is that she can never go back to that husband again, because then she becomes defiled. And it tells you that right here. And if the later husband hate her and write her a bill of divorce and give it to her in her hand and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. And it's crazy because you get a lot of jakes that do that. They'll separate from their women, all right? And you know, the women go out there and go do all types of wickedness and go have, you know, commit adultery, and they do too, you know, the man. And then they want to get back together after a few years. Oh, you know, we worked it out finally. Well, you know what you're doing right there is an abomination, because it says her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai thy power giveth thee for an inheritance. You see? So, hey, you're not supposed to do that. And honestly, to be honest, all women are already defiled anyway, because it's very rare that you find a woman that's a virgin. It's very rare that you find a woman that she just stick with one guy. You know, a lot of these women have had multiple partners in their life, and that makes them defiled right off the rip. All right. Slakia. So going back into that, and another thing is, let me get that real quick. Her brother, if a man dies, his brother takes his wife, KJV. This is Matthew 22 and 24, saying, Master Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother, because this is what happens if a man dies. All right. If a man dies while he has a wife, all right, the brother's supposed to marry the wife. It says his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto him. That's if he had no children. Raise up seed unto his brother. All right. Now there were with us 7 brethren, and first, and when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. Likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th, and last of all the women died also. All right, Salaki. As a matter of fact, what I want is how it says, if he doesn't take if the brother takes not the wife, she shall spit in his face, KJV. This is Deuteronomy 25 and 9. Then let me just read it from here. All right, yeah, let me bring it from right here. It says, if brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no children, the wife of the dead shall not marry unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refuseth to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders and loose his shoe from off his foot and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build his brother's house, and his name shall be called in Israel. You see that? So, hey man, there's actually certain rules to things, man, and that's why this society is all fucked up, because the order is all out of place. All right. So a woman is actually supposed to take on the brother, and if the brother doesn't take on with her, all right, she pretty much got to spit in his face right in front of the elders. All right, but ain't nobody doing that in these days. It's just to show the edification. All right, but let's continue on. All right. So that's what true fornication is. Fornication is when you're having illicit sex, all right? When you're out there committing adultery, all right? Sleeping with another man's wife, sleeping with another husband's daughter. I mean, Salake, sleeping with another husband's wife, all right? No, Salake, I meant to say another wife's husband, because it goes for the woman. You understand? And then you got sleeping with animals, which is bestiality. All right, you sleeping with close relatives and things like that. We just explained that. So that's where they get that fornication. That's what fornication really means. It doesn't mean sex before marriage is fornication. No, because sex is marriage. All right. So you have to understand what these words really mean when you go to sex, right? All right. Let's go to Genesis 2 and 23. All right. It says right here, Genesis 2 and 23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. All right. And it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. All right. So when you go into that word cleave, all right, that word cleave goes into the vak. All right. Let's get that real quick. That word goes into the vak, the bak. All right. And it says right here, to cling, stick, stay close, cleave, keep close, stick to, stick with. All right. Hey, this is it right here. To be joined together. All right. To be joined together. And you have to understand that in the Latin, that's what marriage means. All right. If you go to word etymology online, marriage, it means to see, to join together. It will be the one I'm looking for is right here. It says meanings the marriage vows formerly formal declaration or contract by which two join, all right, to join in wedlock, all right, meaning they're joined together, all right, because that's what marriage means. Matter of fact, yeah, let me say that real quick. Oh shit. Right, so it means to join together, and that's what it means in Latin, all right, to be joined together. Marriage bed. Whoo. Look, this is even, look, marriage counseling is recorded by that name by 1939. Marriage bed, figurative of marital intercourse generally, you see, because it goes into that sex is marriage, you understand, and we're going to bring that out even more to prove it. All right, so in Latin, sex is marriage. All right, marriage means to join together. All right, now that word sex, all right, that word sex goes into the word sexus. All right, let me see. Yeah, right here. Sex goes into the word from the Latin sexus, all right, which that means to cut. Yep, right here. See, to divide or cut. Okay, and what are you cutting? You're cutting the token of a woman's virginity when you're having sex with them, especially if they're a virgin. All right, so by you cutting the token of a virginity, all right, that's going into that actual having sex. All right, and that's why marriage, matter of fact, let me bring that out now. Marriage goes into the word marry, which marry means to give offspring in marriage. You see, to give offspring in marriage. So how do you give offspring? By having sex, by planting your seed. All right, because you have to understand that wife, all right, when you take on your wife, that means your woman. All right, wife, let's get that. Wife means your woman. See, wife, woman, female, lady. All right, your woman is a female servant. Okay, the word woman goes into it being she being a female servant. All right, right here, woman, female servant. So she's your woman. All right, you have sex with her, she becomes your wife. That becomes your woman. All right, your servant. That's why she's supposed to stay with you for the rest of her life, because that's your servant, unless you give her a bill of divorce. All right, so off of that, you get husband, correct? Now, husband goes into plant. That goes into husband goes into master of the house, and it also goes into a planter. All right. See, husband. See, male head of a household, master of the house. See, so the husband is the master of the house, which it goes into that the high authority, because a lot of women will think that that a man basically supposed to bow down to them. That's false, because a man is the top the head of the household. He's the head of everything. It goes Yahweh. The order goes into Yahweh, Yahawah's, then man, then woman. All right. And that tells you that in let me get that real quick. That's in Corinthians. But I will let you know that the head of every man, KJV. See, this is 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it says, but I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahawashi. See, is Yahawashi, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahawashi Mashiach is Yahweh. So that's the actual order of a man. All right. And you have to understand that a man comes first before a woman because he was created first. All right. It tells you that in where does it say that? Let me get that real quick. Adam was first formed, KJV. This is 1 Timothy 2:13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. You see, Adam was formed first. So that's why a woman comes after the man. That already, you know, you got to cut that, you know, women think that they're above a man. Tells you that you're not supposed to usurp authority over a woman, over a man. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I think it's right in here. No. Shall not usurp authority over a man, KJV. What the heck? Shall not usurp authority over a man.
According to Wikipedia.
This is 1 Timothy 12:2-12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be silenced. Matter of fact, yeah, I was just in that chapter. I knew it was in there. But then it says, for Adam was first formed, then Eve. You see? For Adam was first formed, then Eve. So that's why there's no woman that's going to come before a man. Never. All right. And you women are out of order for that in these days, man. Salakia, I haven't even been showing you. All right. Let me read that again. 1 Timothy 2:12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. All right, so that's that going into that what? That authority, which I'm gonna bring that back out since I didn't have it shown. All right. I would have you know that the head of every man, KJV. This is 1 Corinthians 11:3. It says, but I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahawashi, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahawashi Mashiach is Yahweh. That's the order in life, man. And these women don't take heed to that order. See, a true woman is gonna want a man to lead. A true woman is gonna want a man that knows how to lead. But in this society, you got a lot of effeminate ass men that done lost their balls, and you got the women that's basically running everything. All right. So going back to these words, because these words are crucial, man. So husband means the master of the house. All right. Let's see if it says, matter of fact, husbandman, to prove that it also means a farmer, to plant. You see, husbandman, head of a family, just like we just read in husband, the head of the household, the master of the house, but it's also a farmer, tiller of the soil. Okay, so by us being that farmer, that tiller of the soil, we are a planter. Okay, and going back into marriage, going back into the word marry, all right, marry means what? All right, it means to give offspring. See? To give offspring in marriage. So by you giving offspring, you what? You planting seed. You're a husbandman, so you're a farmer, so you're planting the seed. You're planting your rod into your woman. You're plowing her, all right? And then you're planting the seed into her. All right? And these women don't understand that. But that's clearly telling you that sex is marriage. All these words, marriage, marry, all right, they're letting you know that marriage is sex. Okay? So now, to show you that marriage was sex, let's go into, you know, some other different scriptures. And honestly, you know, the way they teach you in this society, all right, they teach you in this society that you're supposed to get married, you know, you're supposed to be before a church, you know, you got to have this documentation, all that. Well, that's all wickedness, all right, because that goes into Babylonian customs. All right, that ring represents Saturn, all right, which represents the black planet, and that's all Babylonian customs. That's why the Saturn, the planet, has the rings of Saturn. That's what that really represents. So by us going in front of the churches, all right, you're worshiping on some Babylonian customs, which you're not supposed to be going into worshiping other gods. But by you going into a church and getting a ring on your finger, you're pretty much bound down to their gods, because you're going in a church right before a priest, all right, a fucking wicked ass priest at that, and you over there basically doing all this this is straight bowing down, man, into a church. So you're not supposed to do that. Matter of fact, it tells you in Exodus, Salaki, you know what? Let me bring this back. It tells you in Exodus 23 and 32 that you should not make a covenant with their gods. See right here, thou shalt not make a covenant with them nor with their gods. And by you going into the church, you're making a covenant, because when you go into that word covenant, all right, that means literally a certificate. All right, let's see what this word covenant says. The word covenant goes into covenant, all right, which is berith. All right, look, covenant, a pledge, an agreement. You see, an agreement, constitution, a treaty. You know, going into that certificate. All right. Matter of fact, bring it out even more on the covenant, on the word etymology. Look, see, mutual compact to do or not do something, a contract. So a contract is written documentation that you're married. And that goes into what we just said. We just read what? It said not to make a covenant with them, nor with their gods. So by you getting married in the church and you putting that ring, because that ring goes back into what? That ring goes back into the rings of Saturn, all right? That black planet, which is a Babylonian custom, and the rings is wicked, all right? And then you're making a covenant with them, with their gods in the church. So that's how you know, if you read any of these scriptures, when it talked about them being married onto their wives, and not once does it ever say they had a party and they had rings involved or anything like that. All right. And the way you know that sex is marriage is by the when it tells you about them having sex, it will say something like he took his wife, he knew his wife, which I'm about to get into that now. All right. So by you going into these churches and doing all that, you're making a covenant, you're signing a contract. All right. Which you're actually empowering the woman for that. Okay. So let me go into, matter of fact, let me go to another scripture real quick. Romans, let me get Romans 2, Slack 7 and 2. No, I already went to that. That's not what I want. Give me 1 second. I want thou hast had 5 husbands, KJV. Yeah, John 14 and 8. That's what I wanted. All right, check this out. Right? It says John 14 and hold on. It says, the woman answered and said, this is 4:17, John. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. You know what? Let me go one more. All right. Yahawashi saith unto her, go, call thy husband and come hither. Right? And he says, the woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahawashi said unto her, thou hast well said, I have no husband. For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that saidest thou truly. All right. And the reason he's saying that is because this woman, all right, he called this woman over and he told her to go get her husband, but she said, I don't have a husband. And he said, you said that right, because she has had 5 husbands. So you mean to tell me she went to the church 5 times and put rings on 5 times? All right. No, he's saying that because she was, when you sleep with a man, that's your husband. When a man sleeps with a woman, all right, that sex is marriage. She becomes your wife. She becomes your woman, just like we brought out in the beginning. So he's basically calling her a straight harlot because she had 5 husbands. She was having sex with 5 different men. All right. So he basically told her, you said that well. And she was, and that's what our women do. They play being harlots without even them realizing that they go on to another man without being let loose from the man or being given that bill of divorce. All right. And they're committing adultery over and over and over again. So this woman had 5 husbands. She was sleeping with 5 different men, committing adultery, being a harlot. All right. So now let's go to Slovakia. Let me go to let's go to Exodus. Exodus 21 and 16. Right? It says right here. Oh, Slovakia 22, 16. 22 and 16. And it says, and if a man entice the maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, she shall surely endow her to be his wife. All right. So if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endure her to be his wife. All right. So if he finds a woman, if a man finds a woman that he likes and she's never slept with anybody, she hasn't been betrothed, because that's what that goes into. All right. Being basically a virgin. She has never been touched by any man. All right. And lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Why? Because he's going to have sex with her. Show you right here. Let's go into that word lie. All right. And lie with her, right? Lie. See? Beautiful. To lie, of sexual relations. Okay. To be laying with sexually. To be laying with sexually. Strong's definition: sexual connection, decease, or any purpose, any other purpose. Oh, look at this. Ravish. That goes into that whole word rape, you know, because a lot of people don't understand that when brothers bring out that rape doctrine, they take it a whole nother level. They don't understand what we're trying to tell them, because rape was done a lot in those days, but it's not the rape that these people think of today. All right. Rape, when you go into that word ravish, let's go into that word ravish. All right. Ravish. See, to seize someone by violence, carry away. Because back in those days, they would take the women if they wanted a woman, they would just take the woman. All right, they would make them spoils of war back in those days. You know, if they came to a certain place and they basically killed off all the men, the women that were never touched, all right, the women that were not betrothed, they were taken as spoils of war. They were taken off into captivity. Well, they would become their servants, going into that word rape. But these people, when you tell them that, they're like, oh, how can you say that? You know, how can you say something like that? You off on that. Nah, that's the word. That's the thing. People don't understand word etymology and words. That's why it's important to break down words and have knowledge of breaking down in words. All right. So it means to seize, take away hastily. You see? Carry away suddenly. Hurry away. And then it says right here, the meaning transferred, commit rape upon. So see, going back into what we just read, all right, he lied with her. All right, he had sexual relations with her. And then, you know, in here they had strong definitions, other words that will go with that. Ravish was one of them. But you can't tell nobody that in Babylon the Great, because these motherfuckers will just flip the script on you. Oh, he said he raping women. You see, that's why that brother Polite just got caught up in his shit, because he used to scoff. He used to scoff the men of the Lord for that. The men of the Lord were trying to literally just preach the doctrine and teach them something, because we're not saying you're going to go out there and go do that in this society. No, you go to fucking jail. All right. This is Esau's kingdom. But we're still going to edify you with the proper knowledge of what the scriptures is meaning or saying at the moment. And brother Polite, all right, which he ain't no damn brother, but Polite was talking hella shit. And look at him now. He just got locked up for raping and molesting a 14-year-old girl. All that shit he was talking. And look, he in jail for that shit. That's how you know YAHAWAH'S is cruel, man. It's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living power. You don't want to be scoffing the men of the Lord, because that shit will come back and bite you in your ass. All right? If brothers was really out there doing what they saying, you know, raping and all that, don't you think they'd be in fucking jail already? No, but ain't not one of them brothers in jail. Because deep down, the so-called white man know that we're not saying nothing wrong. We're just preaching your word. We're giving you knowledge through word etymology. That's why people are not able to understand the Bible, because the Bible, they read it verbatim. They read it for face value instead of actually breaking down the words and finding out what it's really meaning in the sentences. You know? So, once again, going back to this, sex is marriage. Why? Because he did what? All right? I'm going to read that again. It said, 22 and 16. Oh, right here. If a man entice a maid, okay, let's see that word entice. Entice. Look upon, looks, open, to To be spacious, be open, be wide. To make spacious, to be simple, entice, deceive, persuade, to be open-minded, be naive. All right? Seduce, to persuade. So you got to know how to put the word, the word in there, man. You got to know when to put. They've been teaching you that since school, man. That words have many definitions to them. You always have to find out which definition goes in the sentence properly. All right? So right here, we're talking about to persuade, to seduce. Okay? You got to open. Oh, man. All right? Flatter. Woo! Allure. All right? Flatter, though. You see? So, if a man entice a maid, flatter her, okay, persuade her that is not betrothed, that she ain't never sleep with a man, and lie with her, okay, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. See, she becomes his wife. And we already explained what wife meant, all right? Wife means to be your woman. Wife means to be the woman, all right? See? Wife, woman, female. Woman goes into what? That female slave, that female servant. So if he lies with her, she becomes his female servant. See? Woman, female servant. Okay? That's his woman now. And it was all done through what? Through lying with her. Sex, sexual relations. So marriage is sex. All right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 21 and 13. And it says, I'll just start from the top. It says, when thou goest forth to war against the enemies, and the Lord YAHAWAH'S, thy power has delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, going into, hey, see, perfect time to use the word properly, all right? Because women back in the day were raped. They were taken by as prisoners of not prisoners, as spoils of war. You see, because they just had war against the enemies. So now there's nothing but women left. They done killed off all the men, all right, and now there's women that were never touched, because they wouldn't take the women that were already touched and had men. They would actually kill them off too. They had to kill off the men, they had to kill off the children, and they had to kill off the women that already had men. But the women that had no men, they would be left. Now they were taken as prisoners of war. They were taken as spoils of war. And if you wanted him, and it says that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then shalt thou bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put on the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. Ooh, let's go into that word, in unto her. All right, you will go in unto her, meaning what? In unto her, marry. You see, to marry, rule over. All right, to be lord, husband over. Okay, and we just brought to you what the word marry means. The word marry means to. The word marry means to what? To give offspring in marriage. How are you going to give offspring? By being sexually active, planting your rod in that woman and giving her seed, offspring, because the husband, when we went into husband, meant what? Husband meant the master of the house. All right. See, master of the house. All right. Husband, male of the household, master of the house. But then when you go into husbandmen, because that's what they said, we just said husbandmen, right? And that meant to what? Head of the family, a farmer, a tiller of the soil. So you're planting your seed, all right, into her. Hey, man, it can't get any more simple than that. Okay? So, now let's go back into what we was just reading. So, it says, and after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. Plain and simple. Plain, simple words right there. All right. Now let's go into, all right, which I already said about the certificates. All right. When you go into the church and all that, that's certificates. Let's see what Genesis 24 and 63 says. All right, look, Isaac marries Rebecca. So let's see how Isaac ended up marrying Rebecca. Start at 62. And Isaac came from the way of the well, all right, came from the way of the well, Lahario, Lahairoi, something like that, Lahairoi, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she said unto the servant, what man is that? What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. All right. So Rebecca saw Isaac coming down, all right, in the field, and she looked at him and said, damn, this man is fine. Who is that? Okay. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. See, she became his wife. How she became his wife in the tent? It says, and took Rebekah. All right, now let's go into that word took. Rebekah. Took goes into laka.
Strong's H 3947.
Laka.
Lakach.
All right.
Lakach.
And it says what? To take, to fetch, lay hold of, seize, marry. That's the word we need. Marry. Okay? He took her. Take in marriage. Woo! Take in marriage. You see? So again, it's simple, man. Sex is marriage, and people make it a whole louder. It's like a whole harder thing to understand. Why? Because you're so indoctrinated with the ways of Babylon. You're so whitewashed that you actually believe that marriage, all right, before sex is fornication, when sex is marriage. So what is you talking about? And that's why we say that these women out here are lost. All right. And as a matter of fact, I didn't get to show that again. All right. Let's show you again one more time. All right. It says, and Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. Took. Go into the word took. All right. And it says what? Here we go. Marry, right here. Marry. Take in marriage. You see? It's not hard, man. It's not hard to follow at all. Just got to learn how to break down words and understand what you're really reading, and not read it for face value and say, yeah, that's what it is, and that's it. Because then a lot of people say, well, we in America and we speak English. All right, well, you don't understand that the book was written from its original tongues, which the Old Testament was written in Hebrew and the New Testament was written in Greek. And that's why it tells you in Sirach, let me see if it'll bring it up. Yeah, it has it right here. Sirach, in the beginning, it tells you what? For wherefore, let me entreat you. All right. It says, wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own languages. You see, it doesn't have the same force. So when you read it in English, you read it, and English is the worst. All right, because English is the language of these fucking devils. All right, so when you're not reading it and breaking down the actual word etymology of what it really means, you're not getting the proper understanding of the scriptures. And that's why these people think sex before marriage is fornication and things like that, when in all reality, we just broke it down to you that it's not. Sex is marriage. It's plain and simple. There's no way around that, man. All right. Let's take let's get one more, and that's a wrap. All right, let's get Genesis 4:1. It says, and Adam knew his wife, and she conceived. You see? And Adam knew his wife, and she conceived. What else do you think that means? If he knew his wife and she conceived, because conceiving is what? Having a kid. He knew his wife how? Through sex. It's plain and simple, man. All right. So with that being said, Lord willing, was edifying. And yeah, man, got to get that Babylonian doctrine out of your head, man. But hey, that's the point. And Lord willing, it was edifying. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, Call Haloyim, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawah Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahawah Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom.